With Amelia for 8 years, I witnessed her turn her back on me time and time again. And the person she turned to was none other than her childhood sweetheart, Ethan. On our 5th wedding anniversary, Ethan simply texted, "Amelia, I'm hurt. It hurts so bad." Amelia immediately became frantic to leave. I gripped her hand tightly, pleading, "Today is our anniversary. I wouldn't mind any other day, but just this one day, please stay with me." But she frowned, irritation flashing across her face. "James, please don't be unreasonable. What if something serious happened to Ethan? We can celebrate our anniversary any other day." She wrenched free and left without a backward glance. Dejected, I looked down at my phone. A message popped up. "Ha, figured out your place yet? Amelia doesn't love you. She loves me." This time, I didn't try to deceive myself. I simply opened my chat with Amelia and typed, "Let's get a divorce." I had been looking forward to our 5th anniversary all day. I had prepared a gift and made reservations at a nearby restaurant. Amelia wasn't one for grand gestures, but I always tried my best to surprise her. It had been a long time since we sat together like this, enjoying each other's company. Surrounded by other couples, I watched their affectionate gestures and instinctively reached out to adjust Amelia's collar. But as soon as I extended my hand, she flinched, looking at me with suspicion and confusion in her eyes. My hand froze midair, and I retracted it with a quiet, bitter laugh. We weren't like normal couples anymore. When her phone rang, Amelia excused herself to take the call. My gaze followed her, my eyes soft as I watched her go. Ding! A text message arrived. The words on the screen made my blood run cold. "Want a bet who holds a more important place in Amelia's heart? You or me?" I knew who it was without having to think. Ethan. My palms started to sweat. When I didn't reply, he pressed further. "What, are you scared? Is that all the courage you have, James? I guess you know Amelia would choose me. After all, I'm the most important person in her life. Believe it or not, I can ruin your birthday, and I can ruin your anniversary. Don't believe me? Let's just wait and see who ends up utterly defeated." I silently turned off my phone, picked up my glass, and drained it in one gulp. My vision blurred, and I sat in silence. A few minutes later, Amelia returned. I could see the change in her. Her face was etched with anxiety. She looked at me, her brow furrowed, and said hurriedly, "Something came up. I have to go. Finish your meal and go home early. Don't wait for me." Connecting the dots with the messages, I knew instantly who it was about. I grabbed her arm, holding on tight. She turned to look at me, and our eyes met. "Today is our anniversary, Amelia," I said, my voice laced with despair. "I don't care about any other day, but not today. Just this one day, stay with me. Please, just this one day, don't abandon me. Don't make me feel so pathetic." But she pulled away again, her face creased with anger. "James, stop being so unreasonable. Any other day would be fine, but not today. I really have something to do. I'll make it up to you in a couple of days, I promise." Anger surged through me. "Amelia, don't you think you and Ethan are a little too close? Don't forget, I'm your husband." It was the first time I had ever raised my voice at her. She looked at me in disbelief. "James, I've told you many times, there's nothing going on between Ethan and me. We're just good friends. Just because I'm married doesn't mean I have to cut off contact with my friends. What are you thinking all the time? Can you please stop being so jealous, James?" I looked down, a bitter laugh escaping my lips, staring at her indifferent expression. "Friends? Whose male friend calls their female friend in the middle of the night to tell them bedtime stories? Whose male friend has their female friend do their laundry? Whose female friend ditches their husband with a high fever to celebrate their male friend's birthday? Whose friends are as close as you two? In the end, Amelia, you're just deceiving yourself." Amelia ignored me, offering empty platitudes. Okay, don't be upset. I'll make it up to you next time." She turned and left, her back resolute, without a single glance back. Unable to contain my misery, I sat down and drank, glass after glass. Something poked my leg in my pocket. I pulled it out, my already heavy heart sinking further. It was the newest release from Amelia's favorite brand, her anniversary gift. It seemed pointless now. Feeling utterly drained, I tossed the box onto the table and looked up at the lights, a self-deprecating laugh escaping my lips. After some time, my phone dinged. A picture and a message. James, you lost. Completely. See? She loves me. My vision was blurry, but I could still make out the image. Amelia, her brow furrowed in concentration, carefully tending to a wound on Ethan's hand. At that moment, I felt truly, deeply exhausted. Let's get a divorce. My hand trembled as I typed the words into Amelia's chat window, a bitter smile twisting my lips as I turned off the phone. A moment later, another message popped up. This one was from a friend. Dude, what's going on with you and Amelia? Isn't today your anniversary? She's at Ethan's place on such an important day. You left work early to celebrate with her, right? Check Ethan's social media. He's such a manipulative jerk. Don't be too upset, James. I don't know what's gotten into Amelia. Reading the message, my heart ached. Ethan's posts were clearly meant for me, a blatant display of triumph, pushing me to back down. I let out a bitter chuckle. He had gone to a lot of trouble. He truly overestimated my importance in Amelia's heart. Amelia never replied to my message. They were probably together, too engrossed in each other to care about me. Back home, I quietly packed my belongings. There weren't many. We were both so busy that in 5 years of marriage, we barely saw each other outside of sleeping hours. After packing, I went back to my pre-marriage apartment. That's when Amelia finally replied. James, are you joking? You're asking for a divorce just because I didn't spend the day with you today? Are you jealous of Ethan? How many times? Do I have to tell you there's nothing between us? Come on, stop it. I'll make it up to you once I'm done with this busy period, I promise. Ethan's voice came through clearly in the background. Amelia, you promised to spend the evening with me. Why are you on the phone? I scoffed, picturing Amelia frowning, thinking I was being unreasonable again, while the truly unreasonable Ethan was held close to her heart. Another message popped up. Stop messing around. I'll take that as a joke. I'm not coming home tonight. You go to bed. I'm sorry about today. I'll make it up to you in a couple of days. I typed back, I'm serious. Let's end this. Her immediate response, James, are you addicted to playing games? Do you have another woman? Fine. If you want to divorce that badly, let's do it. You think you're so important to me? My fingers froze on the screen. You think you're so important to me? Amelia, I didn't want to be that important. I just wanted to be more important than Ethan. Truly, my expectations weren't high. Frustrated, I turned off my phone. I loved Amelia, but she was doubting me, not even considering why I was acting this way. I couldn't sleep. Messages from Ethan started pouring in. James, what did you do? Why is Amelia suddenly so cold to me? What did you tell her? It doesn't matter what you say. It won't change my place in her heart. Amelia is sleeping over at my place now. See? She doesn't even want to go back to that house with you in it. I ran my hands through my hair in frustration. Why did everyone have to bring their problems to me? What did I owe them? The next morning at work, I stepped into the elevator just ahead of Amelia. Just as the doors were closing, Ethan squeezed in. He looked at me with a smug, arrogant expression. Amelia stumbled slightly, and I instinctively reached out to steady her. Ethan did the same. She glanced at me and then brushed my hand away dismissively. Thank you, Ethan. Having you around makes things so much easier. I watched them, silent. Ethan bent down and fastened the strap on Amelia's high heel. They exchanged smiles, their intimacy undeniable. Amelia, be careful next time. What if you fell? Ethan teased. You're not like others, Amelia replied with a smile. You would never let me get hurt. I kept my eyes downcast. Amelia always said there was nothing between them, even convincing herself of it. But I knew better. She subconsciously relied on and favored Ethan. I had seen her love me like this once, but now she felt the same way about Ethan. I trailed behind them as they walked together, a perfectly matched pair. Compared to them, I, her lawful husband, felt like the intruder. Amelia called me into her office. She was frowning, clearly annoyed. James, what did you say to Ethan? Why did he suddenly start saying such hurtful things to me? I looked down at the messages from Ethan. Amelia, I'm sorry. I was so caught up in thinking our relationship was strong that I caused a fight between you and James. I'm so sorry. I know I can be unreasonable sometimes, but you're all I have. If you think I'm clinging to you like a leech, I'll leave you alone. Amelia stood beside me, glaring. How many times do I have to say it? There's nothing between Ethan and me. Do you have to do this? I can tolerate you joking about divorce because of this, but what does this have to do with Ethan? I frowned. It wasn't me. I didn't say anything. Frustration welled up inside me. I'm being unreasonable? Is it me? Or do you think I'm being unreasonable? Amelia, in the years we've been married, how many times have you missed important occasions? Forget anniversaries. Forget my birthday. You even missed my father's memorial service. What was Ethan's excuse that day? He burnt dinner and got scared, and that was reason enough for you to abandon everything. Here. And now you're doubting me? I wouldn't stoop to something like this. I wasn't joking. After all this, let's just end this. Let's get a divorce. Amelia paused. Then she said, Are you bringing up the past now? You know Ethan went through a traumatic experience, and he's more fragile than most people. Look, I don't care what you said to Ethan. He's not in a good state right now. I need to go to him. I grabbed her arm as she turned to leave. What's more important right now, us or Ethan? I looked at her, pleading with my eyes. Amelia, please, just turn back. We still have a chance. My phone dinged. A message from Ethan. Amelia, I thought we would be happy together, but now I see that's not possible. You be happy. Thank you for always being there for me. Attached was a picture of him on a rooftop. Amelia ripped her arm from my grasp, panic in her eyes. James, Ethan's really not okay. And once again, I watched her leave. I laughed, a hollow, desolate sound. Tears blurred my vision. More messages from Ethan flooded in. I saw your messages with Amelia. You want a divorce? Amelia's a loyal person. She wouldn't do that. Want me to add fuel to the fire? So you can finally see where you stand? This time, you'll lose, fair and square. I typed back, a bitter smile on my face, my eyes dark as ink. I lose. I don't want her. She's yours. I'm not fighting for someone whose heart isn't with me. It's pointless. I left the divorce papers and my resignation letter on Amelia's desk. Outside the company, I saw a message from a friend. Hey, heard you're free? Come celebrate at the bar. The guys miss you. Amelia never liked me going to bars. She said the people there smelled of smoke and desperation. She didn't like the smell of smoke, so I quit smoking. She didn't like the smell of alcohol, so I told everyone I was allergic. For 5 years, I'd avoided almost all social gatherings with friends, revolving my life around Amelia. And what was the result? A dismissive, stop being so unreasonable, that swallowed all my grievances and efforts. Now, I realized what a fool I had been. Okay, I replied. The bar was packed when I arrived. Everyone knew what had happened and offered words of comfort, telling me to move on. James, it's been ages. You've totally abandoned us for a girl. You have to drink with us tonight. We all rescheduled things to be here for you tonight. The atmosphere became even livelier with my arrival. Someone suggested playing dice. I sat on the sidelines, observing but not participating. Hey, isn't that Brenda? I looked up, the name not registering. My friend nudged me. James, Amelia, never mind. Just look. I didn't expect them to be here. He showed me a video on his phone. My blood ran cold. In the dim light, a man was nestled against a woman, his face buried in her neck. Their intimacy was palpable. Then I heard the audio. Amelia, I like you. I really do. Do you like me? Of course I like you. Amelia's voice was clear, laced with a smile. I knew these two voices all too well. What about James? The man asked, his eyes glinting in the darkness. The light was dim, so I couldn't see Amelia's expression. She smiled nonchalantly. Him? Compared to you? She paused, my heart clenching. Don't worry. I like you the most. I chuckled bitterly. She seemed to think of something else. He's so boring. I thought he was obedient, but now he's just annoying. The video ended with Amelia leaning down, their heads close together, as if about to kiss. I felt a chill run through me, despite the August heat. It was a coldness that emanated from my very core. I'm annoying? I simply asked her to choose, and that was so difficult? Is being faithful that hard? My friend spoke cautiously. James, are you all right? Hey, it's not that big of a deal. It's just a breakup. You're such a great guy. We all see that. Amelia's the one missing out. Yeah, you were a legend back in school, another friend chimed in. I swallowed my emotions and turned to them with a forced smile. Do you guys think I'm that fragile? Come on, I'm over it. But my words were drowned out by the alcohol I consumed, glass after glass. Later, I went to the restroom. I knew Amelia and Ethan were at the bar, but I hadn't expected to run into them like this. Ethan was hunched over the sink, Amelia, supporting him, gently patting his back and scolding him softly. I told you not to drink so much. You have a sensitive stomach. Now look at you. You're sick? Ethan blinked at her, his eyes watery. Amelia, are you worried about me? Amelia frowned at him. Of course I'm worried. Knowing I'd worry and still drinking so much, you're abusing your body. She noticed me out of the corner of her eye and turned. James, what are you doing here? You've been drinking? Aren't you allergic to alcohol? She wrinkled her nose, her expression one of disgust as she took in my alcohol-soaked state. Her reaction stung. Am I that repulsive to you? I leaned against the wall for support, and suddenly, an arm reached out to steady me. I turned and met the eyes of Brenda. Are you okay? She asked softly. Why did you drink so much? And why are you out here alone? My eyes, bloodshot from the alcohol, looked into hers as I leaned against her. Amelia stiffened. James, have you lost your mind? I'm right here. She turned to Brenda. Miss, he's married. Are you trying to be a homewrecker? I met Amelia's gaze again. I'm just leaning on my friend. What, am I not allowed to have female friends? Amelia stared at me, about to step towards me when Ethan suddenly clung to her. Amelia, I don't feel good. Amelia patted his shoulder. Okay, let's go home soon. I looked at them, then turned to leave. James, don't you think you're being a bit much? Amelia asked, her brow furrowed. It's none of your business, I snapped. Just take care of Ethan. I walked away without looking back, not hearing another word from Amelia until she and Ethan left. My vision blurred, my hands clenched into fists. Brenda noticed and gently took my hand. Don't do that. You'll hurt yourself. I woke up to Amelia's frantic calls. James, why are you just answering now? Where were you last night? I told you to stay away from that woman. Did you even listen to me? You've really outdone yourself this time. You moved out all your things? You're serious about this divorce? And what's with the resignation letter? You're leaving the company? I mumbled a response. Amelia's voice, laced with mockery, continued, James, don't think you're still that hotshot from college. Don't flatter yourself. Where do you think? You'll go without me? You think you got this position on your own merit? You leave now. You're nothing but an intern. Do you even understand? Her words fueled my anger. Amelia, stop acting like I can't live without you. You're always so self-centered, never considering anyone else's feelings. No, scratch that. You only treat me this way. I'm truly exhausted. Let's just end this. As if she hadn't heard me, she continued, James, I told you. Everything I did before was wrong. I was wrong. I know you're still blaming me for leaving that day. I couldn't help it. Ethan really needed me. Why are we getting a divorce over such a small thing? Are our feelings this fragile? I took a deep breath. He needed you? He always needs you. Are you his mother? James, don't be ridiculous. Don't talk to me like that. Amelia snapped. Then, her voice softening, she said, Okay, I know you're angry. Look, you should have received an invitation from Mr. Carter, right? Come with me to that event. I have things to do. Gotta go. Just before she hung up, I heard Ethan's voice. Amelia, you said you'd bring me to this time. So, I'm not the first choice, am I? And what's the point of this now? I ran my hands through my hair in frustration. Now she remembered I was her husband? What about before? She always brought Ethan to these events. And when I wanted to go, what did she say? Ethan needs to network. You can go by yourself. But Amelia, all I ever wanted was to stand by your side. But now, I don't want to anymore. A knock on the door startled me. I looked up. You're awake? Just in time for breakfast with everyone. My head throbbed. I looked at the woman's face, familiar, but I couldn't recall her name. Then it hit me. Brenda? She looked up, her eyes shining. You remember me? Yeah. Thanks again for last night. She nodded. I was the star student, and Brenda was the brilliant writer. A photo of us had once been featured on the school website, labeled The Power Couple. Amelia had seen it and blocked me for a week. I'd had to hack the school forum to get it taken down. I felt bad about the unintentional rumors I'd caused her. She continued to look at me, her eyes sparkling. A thought crossed my mind, and before I could stop myself, I blurted out, Are you free tomorrow night? There's a gala. Would you like to go with me? I instantly regretted it. She looked surprised, and I stumbled over my words. If you're not free, it's okay. It's no big deal. I'm free. I looked up, meeting her eyes. Great. I'll pick you up. We smiled at each other, a strange, almost electric current passing between us. This small interlude had pushed all my previous worries to the back of my mind. If Amelia wanted me to do something, I wouldn't do it. On the night of the gala, I picked Brenda up early. The dress I had bought fit her perfectly. She looked stunning. When we arrived, Amelia was already there, waiting outside. She started to approach my car, but stopped when she saw me helping Brenda out. Her eyes widened. Furious, she marched over. James, care to explain? I texted you, and you didn't reply. And now you have a new girlfriend so soon? Don't forget, I haven't signed the papers yet. I looked at her, my expression calm. Miss Amelia, if you'll excuse us. I've already informed you about the divorce. If you're not willing to sign, talk to my lawyer. I tried to walk past her, but she grabbed my arm. James, what did I do wrong? Why are you doing this? I pulled my arm away. You didn't do anything wrong. We're just not compatible. You're not wrong. I'm wrong. I'm wrong for pursuing you, for tolerating you time and time again. I turned to leave. I just didn't spend the day with you. I thought we had so many tomorrows, so many days to be together. This is my first time loving someone, she cried out. I paused. Brenda squeezed my arm, and my resolve returned. She turned to Amelia. You're not wrong. Neither of you are wrong. But when trust is broken in a relationship, that's when things go wrong. I'm a lawyer, Miss Amelia. If you don't want this to get messy, I wouldn't advise you to make it difficult for James. Amelia glared at her. Who do you think you are? This is none of your business. I pulled Brenda behind me. Amelia, what right do you have to question the people I'm with now? There's nothing more to say. Amelia opened her mouth to speak, but her phone rang. I glanced at the caller ID and smiled. Amelia, let's be civilized about this. I wish you and Ethan happiness. I turned and walked away without looking back. I could still hear Amelia's angry shout after she answered the phone. Can you stop bothering me? Then, the sound of the call ending, followed by Amelia's muffled sobs. She looked at the direction I had gone, my resolute, unwavering departure. At that moment, she finally understood. James was serious. The next time I heard from Amelia was when she delivered the signed divorce papers. Her face was bare, her eyes empty. I took the papers, and she said through gritted teeth, Congratulations on escaping me. When's the wedding? I met her gaze. Don't worry, you won't be invited. I won't be getting married again, so there's no invitation to give. Tears welled up in Amelia's eyes, but her expression remained defiant. Fine, I don't care. You got what you wanted. Before I could respond, Ethan rushed over and protectively stood in front of Amelia. I remained silent. Ethan looked at me, triumph in his eyes. Stop bothering Amelia. I scoffed. Honestly, you're not much of a man. You couldn't even keep her when I had her. I turned and left. As I walked away, I heard a clear voice call my name. James. I turned and saw Brenda. She walked quickly towards me, a smile on her face. Time seemed to stop, and all I could hear was the pounding of my heart. She stopped in front of me, her smile radiant. Caught you again. I couldn't help but smile back. I didn't spare another glance for the two behind me. I focused on Brenda, her cheerful chatter filling the air. James, why have you been avoiding me? There's a new restaurant I tried. It's really good. I'm in a celebratory mood. How about joining me for dinner? You're so aloof. Are you really going to ignore me? I looked up at the sky. The moon is beautiful tonight. I started my own business. Despite years of experience, the rapidly changing times made it challenging. It was the most stressful period of my life. Thankfully, Brenda was there for me. Every day, I came home to the aroma of home-cooked meals, washing away the day's exhaustion in the warmth of her presence. We started dating a while ago. My previous relationship had made me hesitant to believe in happiness again, but Brenda showed me that I deserved to be loved. She supported and encouraged me through difficult times, making me realize that I, too, could be happy. As for Amelia and Ethan, I only heard about them through mutual friends. After our separation, Amelia seemed to have changed. Ethan tried to reconcile with her. I heard they had a huge fight. Amelia cried, "This is all your fault. He wouldn't have left me if it wasn't for you. You ruined your own family's happiness, and now you're ruining mine." Ethan looked at her innocently. "Amelia, how can you say that? You're the one who changed her heart. You promised you'd take care of me forever." Amelia shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "How much more can I take care of you? I've lost the person I love most. You killed your mother. What does that have to do with me? Why are you being so unreasonable? Are you satisfied now? Everyone around you ends up unhappy. You're a jinx." After that, they cut ties completely. I received messages from Ethan. Why? Why? I hate you. I was there first. Everything was supposed to be mine. It's all your fault. Amelia isn't talking to me now. I absolutely despise you. James, what did you do to Amelia? Why would she choose you? I blocked and deleted him. I turned and looked towards the kitchen, where Brenda was busy preparing dinner. A smile spread across my face. I walked over and hugged her from behind. She stiffened in surprise, then laughed. "What's this about?" I nuzzled my face against her neck and whispered, "I want to marry you." Amelia's perspective. After completely breaking things off with James, I locked myself in my room, resorting to alcohol and cigarettes to numb the pain. But nothing worked. I was still, heartbroken. Everywhere I looked, I saw reminders of him. In a fit of rage, I smashed everything that belonged to him. I slept when I was tired, and when I woke up, I cried. I couldn't understand how love could just disappear. But one thing became crystal clear. I truly loved James. But what could I do now? He had moved on. On the 5th day, Ethan came over. I was asleep when he let himself in. He checked to see if I was still breathing, thinking I might have done something drastic. I wasn't that foolish. When he opened the curtains, I jolted awake. He approached me slowly, his voice gentle. "Amelia, how can you treat yourself like this?" At that moment, I realized. Because of him, memories flooded my mind. The day of James' father's memorial service, his eyes were red with grief. Yet after I left, he put on a brave face for the relatives, protecting me from their gossip. On James' birthday, when Ethan burned dinner and panicked, the joy and excitement in James' eyes vanished as I left. I remembered the bitter smile on his face. On our anniversary, he pleaded with me to stay, but I still left. It wasn't that there were no signs. It was a series of heartbreaks, of me turning away. I burst into tears, sobbing uncontrollably. I was so stupid. I lost the person I loved most. My heart ached, my body curling into a ball. I had driven away the person who loved me the most. He would never come back. Ethan's perspective. My mother died giving birth to me. Everyone hated me for it. My father called me a coward, unworthy of being his son. Who wanted to be his son anyway? My grandparents called me a jinx, a bad omen. My maternal grandparents disowned me, calling me a murderer who killed their daughter. What did I do wrong? I was constantly beaten growing up. They all hated me, and I hated them back. But she was different. She brought the injured me home, cleaned my wounds, and tended to me carefully. She learned about my past and cried for me. It was the first time I felt helpless. I frantically wiped away her tears. She said, "Don't be afraid. I'll care for you. I'll like you." At that moment, I felt like the beating I'd taken that day was worth it. For the first time, someone cared about me. Someone said they liked me, instead of hating me. Let's make a pinky promise. You can't lie to me. Pinky promise. That day, I started to have hope for the world. Brenda's perspective. When the photo of James and me went up on the school forum, everyone said we were a perfect match. I thought so too. I was the talented writer, and he was the unattainable star student. We were a good fit, but we had never even spoken. I kept quiet about the photo. Then, James came to find me. My heart soared, but he was there to apologize. He rubbed the back of his neck sheepishly. "Sorry about that. They accidentally posted that photo. It's a misunderstanding." I looked down, hoping he wouldn't notice my blush. He continued, "Don't worry. I have a girlfriend. I'll explain everything. I'm really sorry. A girl's reputation is important." I nodded quickly. He probably thought I was upset and was apologizing. "It's okay," I whispered. He smiled and turned to leave. I watched him walk towards a girl. Even from behind, I could tell she was beautiful. I followed them with my eyes until they disappeared from view. But the image of his bright smile wouldn't leave my mind. Back then, I didn't know what it meant to like someone. Later, I realized I was comparing every guy I met to him. That's when I knew I was in trouble. If I couldn't bring myself to settle for less, I might as well live my life freely.